Take any book on philosophy. I mean, the general books, the history of philosophy books or introduction to philosophy books. Any book would do, from the beginners to most complex, whatever is your choice or whatever anyone recommends, take that book. And if you're able to understand it completely, what that means is that it's a cakewalk to you, then leave it and again go for the toughest read that you know, again of a general book, or ask someone a tough read from the general books. And again, if you're able to understand it very easily, again if it's a cakewalk to you, then shift to even tougher books. The toughest, I mean, at one stage or the other, it can happen on the very first read or second or third, that you are not able to understand it at all, nothing. It's like a wall. Then you want to come down a step. And if you are able to understand it with some effort, that's the book you want to read. So why this method? Because the art of reading and the purpose of reading is lost to our youth. Why do we read at all? Like, if it's there in the book, why do you want to have it in your mind? It makes no sense, more so in modern world. You can, like, if anyone asks you anything, you can simply Google it up and do it. The purpose of reading is to push the horizons of your mind so that you are able to think more. So say for example, sum total of all you can think is x units. After reading something, it has to be x plus del x plus something. It has to be that. And that's only going to happen if you are reading something which you could not understand it in one go. You had to push your brain, and now you understand it. So there was this initial gap of understanding between you and the author, and then to overcome that gap is the purpose of reading. So if it's an easy book, you understood it like a cakewalk, so it's not adding anything to your mind or brain. So that's why you want to go to the toughest one, and toughest that you know. And now if you do not understand it at all, then it's wastage of time, because you are putting in effort but nothing is entering your mind. So it works like this in every field. Like if you go to a gym, you want to hit the weight which you can lift, but with a little bit of effort. If you can lift it like anything, then it's not gonna help you. And if it's too heavy, then it's going to damage you. So that's how you do it. Now, if you have no one to recommend you, what kind of reading should you do? So I would need to know first, for example, what standard are you in? 10th class student, 12th, 8th, 9th, or bachelor's, master's. So if you're anywhere below your 10th standard, go for a very basic book like Sophie's World or How to Teach Your Dog Philosophy. And there are a few others, very basic, Philosophy 101, Philosophy for Dummies. All of these books would do. The second is, if you're anywhere between your 11th standard and bachelor's, then go for Will Durant's Story of Philosophy. And there are others of similar level. If you're above and beyond that, then you can go with Bertrand Russell's History of Philosophy, Anthony Kenny's A New History of Philosophy. If you're between your 11th and bachelor's, you can go for Peter Adamson, Philosophy Without Gaps. So that should tell you. If you're not able to understand, calm down a little. And that's okay, because the purpose of reading is not to add the books into your resume. A lot of people do the reading for that, so that they are able to tell others, I have read the book. No, you have not read the book. You are like a hard disk. The hard disk has the book inside it. The hard disk does not understand it, neither do you. So the purpose is not that. So is wajah se it's perfectly fine to go with the read, which is kind of for children. Like, what am I reading these days in philosophy? I'm reading How to Teach Your Dog Philosophy. And I'm post-bachelor, so I'm still reading what kids would read. I read Sophie's World a few months back, and I don't think that I understand it yet. So him sticking with the basics. So there are a few more books like Frank Thilly's. You can read that if you're a bachelor level student. Frank Thilly has translated a philosophy book which you can read if you're post-grad. So I think that should kind of answer the question. And there is part 2 as well to this philosophy. The philosophy seems attractive to a lot of people because it makes you appear cool because you can argue well. So yeah, a lot of people read philosophy for that purpose. But I think the bigger purpose of reading philosophy is to know how to think. And that you can do without actually reading a text of philosophy. What other thing can you read? There are 2 things that you can do to push yourself into, to know how to think. I think one is study standard 6 से 12 तक का literature. Except for science you can do up to 10th wala portion. Study that rigorously. More so if it's NCERT or NIOS, they're good books. उसको बड़ा depth में जाके समझे, उसको अच्छे से समझे. Because if you understand that, I don't think you need to read anything at all above and beyond that. 12th तक का. Science में up to 10th तक का enough है. Mathematics in particular उसको understand करे. प्लेटो की academy के बाहर लिखा होता था, let the ones who can't do mathematics not enter. So because why maths? Because maths involves abstract thinking, and if you are not capable of abstract thinking, philosophy is not for you. So maths is one thing that you need to get your hold on. Plato would say that, and he is one of the first philosophers. And once you have mastered that, you can go for advanced text. That is the originals. And that's the purpose. Finally, you want to read the originals. But never rush it. Why? Because if you rush and read texts which are beyond your station, they're going to ruin you. One of the core reasons for the fall of our generation in general and the Muslim youth in particular is this. Reading texts of not of your station. Like students read, they go to these bookshops, they take up 40 rules of love. Then students take Yuval Noah Harari and Sapiens, and then they tell their parents, you're not my father. And technically. So that's what happens when people read texts beyond their station. They read a few texts of, say, left or the liberals or the capitalists, and then they are all in awe for it. Because this generation has lost taste, it doesn't know what should actually inspire awe in you. They are actually awed by what is awful. If I had to recommend anyone what to read, I would ask him to read standard 6 ki books. And when he or she comes back, I have done it, I would tell them, read standard 7th ki books. If they would say, I've done that, been there, read 8th ki books. And only when they finish after 12th, I might go ahead with something else. But that's not gonna add to your CV, na? आप नहीं कह सकते ना कि I have read standard 6 ki books, so it doesn't make you appear cool though. You have to read these cool books like Pride and Prejudice and all of these books, because that makes you appear cool. But remember about coolness, that the coolest body is that of a dead body. That's the coolest body.